Why using this mic? We're using this mic, yeah? Yeah, for our.
Yes.
The frame is okay?
Yes, frame is okay. Very good. Good. So once again, welcome everyone to Picha Talks, Mastering Media Equipment with Parag from Cameras Africa and Richalela from Picha Images. So we are happy and glad to have you here today because for the first time, we're going to be addressing many questions that you've been having over the past few months about camera equipment for those who want to get new ones, for those who want to upgrade, and for those who want to expand their range of equipments. So with me today, we have Mr. Parag from Cameras Africa, who is the host today, and we're happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Rich, for having me. I think you are the host, I'm the guest. Thank you. So let me just tell you, Cameras Africa, we try and make it easy to equip yourself to tell your stories. So when we say equip, it's not just equipment. We also started doing workshops so people can learn more on improving their skills, improving the equipment they're using. And it's not just with cameras. You tell your stories. You can tell your stories nowadays with phones, or maybe if you want to print, your photos, we have printers for that. So that's what we are striving to do, helping you equip yourself to tell better stories in any format that could be out there.
So for how long has Cameras Africa been around?
The place has been here since 1994. It was Universal Gift Center, more of a gift center. Then slowly we focused on a camera store in 2015. That's when we fully decided to be in this space. We saw the trend that people needed equipment, and we were able to source them. So that's where we saw the market was going, and we decided why not bridge the gap between the consumers and the market. So yeah, from 2011 to 2015, we were in between the gift shop and the camera shop. And I think 2015, we decided that now we fully want to be a camera store.
Excellent. And we as Picha Images are glad to be here. So I'll do a short introduction of who Picha is and what we do. So Picha is a digital media company that focuses on helping businesses to create great content by linking them up with photographers and videographers. And at the same time, we are very passionate about growing photographers' skills and helping them to become better in the market. So today, the main topic of this talk is going to be around media equipment. We got several questions from the audience over the last few weeks as we were doing the Instagram lives. And I'll ask Parag some of the questions. Then towards the end of the talk, we'll have a Q&A session where you'll be able to type in your questions in the chat section. And Mr. Parag here will be able to answer them, as well as advice on where to get the equipment and how to make it happen. So let's start with the first question. I'll just go through them over my phone.
Yeah.
So one that is quite common is, I love photography and I want to start, but I don't have the budget. How do I get started when it comes to buying equipment?
Okay. Photography now has become quite cheap than when we were in the space of using films. I think Rich, you are an example of that. You started photography by using your phone. For how long did you use your phone before you decided to get into photography.
For about 2 years before
Yeah.
I got a professional camera.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
see nowadays, everyone has a smartphone. It doesn't have to be the latest iPhone 13 or OnePlus. I don't even know, OnePlus something, or you can have nowadays even the smartphones have become cheap. You can get a good phone for 10,000, 15,000, which you might even be having right now and using it. So you can use that to learn the basics of photography. The composure, the framing of the shots, those things. Explore photography, see how it is for you, and then you can get into buying a camera. And the cameras, they start, DSLR cameras, they start with 40,000 going up. So you don't necessarily have to jump in to buy a camera to become a photographer. If you're just exploring the space, you can use your phone, get into it, and then you can get, as you progress, you buy the camera.
Quite interesting. And I actually remember using the mobile phone at the beginning also helped me to learn how to use my third eye, because it made me understand things like composition and lighting way before getting into the professional cameras.
Yeah.
So say someone is really passionate and they've used the mobile phone for a while, but now they feel like they want to take the next step, but they do not have enough cash. Do you have financing options that can help in this regard?
So we have a couple of, we have one is where you leave a deposit and you keep on paying for the camera. And when you finish paying for the equipment, you can take it with you. Or the other one is we have a financing partner with us who will rate your credit score, and they will give you a 6 to 12 month installment plan. But with them is then you can take the equipment as soon as your credit limit gets approved. Yeah, so those are the two options we have if you need to buy equipment and you don't have enough budget.
So that means that anyone can walk in here if they don't have enough cash, and you can link them up with the financier who will look at their credit score.
Yeah.
And they get a camera.
Yeah.
How long does it take to approve the payment?
It takes generally about a day or two to get approvals, because they need some documents. So once they do all that, then they will let you know how much you have been approved for, and then you're good to go from there.
And what are some of these documents?
I think they need your bank statement, M-Pesa statement, the quotation of the equipment you're buying.
Okay, very good. So the other category that is growing right now massively is the blogging space. And now everyone wants to create content on YouTube. People want to do video on the go and share it as fast as possible with minimal editing. What are some of the equipments that you can recommend for someone who wants to start blogging?
When it comes to blogging, I think there are a lot of different kind of blogging that we could talk about. Like, one of the most common, which would be, I think, travel blogging. People are always traveling and they want to take photos. For that, they need a smaller camera with a good inbuilt zoom, so you don't have to be carrying around, like a big camera like this, and you're walking around and running around. So you need a smaller camera which has a good inbuilt zoom with good lighting, and the important thing is it should have a microphone input, so you can attach an external mic for better audio quality. So that's something that would be good to use for vlogging. But if you're doing sit-down interviews for YouTube, the one like we are doing, you can there you might need extra lights or extra better microphone, a good a tripod so that it's stable, it's sitting there, and only one person doing it. Yeah.
And speaking of microphones, I know that there are different types,
Yeah.
from the lapel mics to the boom mics and on-camera microphones. What are some of the differences between the three mics, and what would you recommend for someone who is working on the move or a particular situation?
So, okay, let me just get. So we have the lapel mic here, like maybe the one that both of us are also wearing. These are good for interviews like how we're doing, to cut out all the other sound. It's good for one person. You can even use this on your phone. So if you have a phone and you want to record yourself while you are outside, and you don't want a lot of other noise coming in, when you use the phone inbuilt microphone, you'll have a lot of the wind noise coming in. So that with the lapel mic, you remove that. The other mic is you have a boom mic, where you attach it, maybe on top like this. So when the two of us are talking, it's picking up the sound. That's where it could be ideal. So you don't need two different mics. One mic will work for you. Then you have the on-camera mic, the shotgun mics. Those are good for when you're moving around and you were just recording, interviewing people. So it's got a short, distant pick. So it's not going to pick a lot of sound. It's got a narrow range. So whoever you're pointing at, and someone is very close to you, it will pick the noise. Then we've got the wireless lapel mics. So this is, it has an inbuilt transmitter, receiver. So you can be far from the person and it's wireless, so you have your mic and you have a transmitter, and then the camera has the receiver. So, you're wireless, so it's easy to use. So yeah, different mics, different brands, different uses. So when you come down, if you talk to us what exactly you want, then we can also help advise you in which mic would be the best for your situation.
And just to be clear, so Cameras Africa is located on Kenyatta Avenue at Uganda House.
Next to Uganda House.
Yeah, next to Uganda House.
Yeah.
So if you're in town, it's quite easy to get. For the other mics, the lapel mics, what's the range?
You can get something from 15,000 all the way up to, I think, around 65,000. Different, like you said, different brands, different makes, different quality, different price. And the good thing with us is we are not a single brand store. We are multi-brand. So, we'll not try and sell you one particular brand because that's the only brand we stock. We have all the brands. So we are quite unbiased on the sales we try and do and the advice we give.
Very well. Now we have someone who started from mobile phone photography. They bought their first camera, and they're now thinking about adding lights to it. What lights would you recommend if someone wants to expand their gear and have additional lighting on their set?
So if it's for video, of course, the lights that you probably might need is continuous light, like the ones we're using right now. And nowadays we've got a lot of different kind of lights, lights that you can use a modifier with it to shape the light, basically. Like the ones we're using right now, it's a continuous light, and we've got softbox put on it to direct the light and modify the brightness of it. We and then you got the background lights, just to kind of, like, what do you call them? Fill lights, or
Yeah, like fill lights.
fill lights, just to kind of break the background, just to give you a set different look. Then you've got the normal flat panel LED lights,
like the one we have here,
like the ones behind. So yeah, lights. We have a lot of different lights, and lights. One of the questions that we get asked here is which are the best lights for us. It's a very, very tricky question. It's like a trick question you get asked. Because we don't know what kind of mood, the scene that you're trying to create. So we can't really just tell you this light is the best for you. Every light has its purpose, and every scene needs a different kind of light. So you once you do know what kind of scene you're doing, what kind of mood you're trying to create, then we can kind of help you get the lights, if you need any modifiers, and the brightness, depending on the room size. Yeah.
So that means that when someone is coming to ask you about the light, they should have done their research and known exactly what they want. Then you're able to advise them better.
At least if they know what kind of place or what kind of shoot they're doing, then it helps us, because when they ask us that which is the best light, they're all the best lights depending on
the use.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like this is a question that has always been there since time immemorial. Which is the best camera?
Yes.
Between Sony, Canon, Nikon? Yeah. How do you answer that?
Again, the same question. They're all good brands. When you compare like to like if you compare the basic entry levels, they're all of them almost the same price. When you look at the high end, all of them almost the same price. Every camera has, like, one thing is good in this, one thing is good in that, one thing is better in that. And then a lot of comes down to the local presence of the brand, the local support. If you have friends who are using a particular brand, then you might want to keep that brand because it's easy to share accessories. Or if you've become used to a brand, then it's easier to just keep on upgrading to that brand because you might have accessories for that brand already. So if you start off with a APC sensor and you go up to a full frame, most of the lenses or you could use in the full frame, so you might want to just stick to that brand. Yes. So
speaking of the sensors, you've mentioned APC sensor and the full frame sensor. So that's a crop sensor and the full frame. What's the difference between the two?
Okay, so this is a it's a ATD, Canon ATD. You can see the sensor. So basically, when you talk about full frame and that, it's the sensor size here, the crop sensor, and then we have the Sony here, although this is a mirrorless, but it's okay. It's a full frame sensor. So the size of this sensor and this sensor is different. This is a small sensor than this. So to have a full frame sensor, I think, Rich, you might be better able to explain, although a bigger sensor just brings in more light, and the camera, the more the light it gets, the better in low light also. But then it's not always about the sensor size, that you might, need a full frame. APC sensors are also good. I think you would say yes to that, or no, maybe that's something I could have your view.
So I actually have a funny story about that. Yeah. For a long time, when I started shooting, I started using the Canon 450D, and this was a school camera which we'd borrow over the weekends to go and shoot. Then when I bought my first camera, it was a Canon 600D, which is still a crop sensor. And some of the best images I've taken to date were done on that camera. And one of my mentors kept telling me, you need to go full frame now. You've been shooting crop sensor for so long. And I would always tell them, it's not about the camera. It's about the person behind the camera. So in a sense, that is true. Whether it's crop sensor or full frame, it doesn't really matter. But there's something I realized when I switched from crop sensor to full frame, which the first part was the area. So for example, if you're using an 18 to 55 millimeter lens on a crop sensor, it is not essentially 18 millimeter. It is slightly longer. So you're getting about 1.25 more in terms of the focal length. But when you're using a full frame sensor, if it's 18 millimeter or 24 millimeter, you get it as it is. So that opens your eyes to how wide you're able to capture at the beginning. Then secondly, in terms of the light capabilities as well, the full frame sensors allow in more light. And most of the time, you'll find that they also work well with prime lenses. And this just adds to your image quality. I mean, if you're a bad photographer, whether you have the most expensive camera in the world, you'll not take a good picture. But if you're a good photographer and you add on to the technical capabilities, then it adds more to your skill and your experience. Yeah.
Yes, because there are so many functions now in a camera. So until you've not fully explored it, you can have the best equipment and still not really know how to maximize the use of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that's also quite common, especially among photographers, where you see the latest equipment and you want to get it. Is there a time period that someone should wait to upgrade, or should you always buy the latest equipment when it comes out?
It's a personal choice depending on where you are in that journey and with that camera. You could have bought let's just say this ATD, and then you've been practicing for 5-6 hours a day. You really have mastered it. You know how to use it. You've taken the photos, and you've reached the limitations of that camera. So maybe in 2 months now, okay, I do need to upgrade because I've reached the limit. Or if you're someone like me who's still not mastered this, I'm still trying to use it, or it's been over 2 years. So for me, there's no need to upgrade to a camera. I still need to use other lenses that will help me improve my photography. So that's, depending on where you are in your journey and how quickly you outperform your camera. Because, camera is one thing, but the other thing people need to understand is that lenses, when you buy better lenses, that's where your photography now starts improving also. You get a f2.8 lens, or you get a prime lens, 1.2 lens, zoom lens. This is what makes a difference. And lenses you will only buy when kind of the photography that you start doing. So when someone comes to us, they say, what's the best lens? We tell them, okay, the camera comes with a kit lens. Start with that, practice with that. Then when you know like what limitations that lens is giving you in which kind of photography, then come to us and we'll tell you which lens to take. If you start doing a lot of portraits, then the kit lens might not be good. Then you might, you need a prime lens, like a 50 millimeter, 85 millimeter with a 1.8, 1.4, 1.2. Those now will be the ideal lens. If you start doing a lot of macro, then you get the macro lenses. If you do wildlife, you start getting the zoom lenses. So each and every lens has its purpose again. So it's good that when you know which lens you buy, it's easier to. And then when you upgrade your lens to the camera, again your pictures change.
And that's one thing that also revolutionized my photography. The moment I realized that the lens plays a very important part. And for someone who is just starting out, sometimes it might be hard to get the prime lenses because they are quite pricey. But one of the lenses that I found to be very versatile and gave me excellent quality was a 50 millimeter. The 50 millimeter 1.8 on both Nikon, Canon, and I believe Sony also have. Yeah. It is quite an affordable lens that will give you top quality. It also helps you to move around a lot and understand the process of image creation. And by the way, we are also live on Cameras Africa Instagram account. So get more people to join and watch this as we continue.
And I think like 50 millimeter, I think it's equivalent of what your eye sees. It's almost like the vision is, what your eye sees is what your 50 millimeter will see. So it's a perfect, lens for portrait.
It's a natural, it's a natural lens for working with.
Yeah.
So the other thing that is happening right now, most people start as photographers, but then you get your clients asking you if you can do video. And many people have had to learn how to do both photos and video. What cameras would you recommend for photos, for videos, and one that can do both easily?
If you're doing, if you are doing, or if you're thinking of that, you might start doing videos, which, like you said, it's become the trend now, because everyone wants videos. Even on social media nowadays, everyone wants to put videos, not just photos alone. So one of the things to look out for in a camera is that it has a mic port. What the mic port will help you is you can attach an external microphone to get better audio quality. Otherwise, what you might be doing is recording audio separate, video separate, and putting it together in post. I mean, that's okay. But if you want something quick turnaround time, quick thing, then you might as well get a camera which you can attach a microphone. So, when you're recording sound, it's there. Reduces your editing time. To start with, the entry-level cameras, Canon has a 250D M50, Nikon D5600, Sony has A6400, and they've just removed the new one, the Z. It's coming this month. I keep on forgetting the name of it. It's
ZVE10.
ZVE10, which is a very nice video camera meant for short videos. That they're trying to get into the entry-level space also for video cameras.
That is good to know.
And of course, for video, it's if you're starting out, it's good to have a zoom lens, not a fixed lens, because you don't want to have a lot of lenses carrying around. If you're doing a short interview or a clip, then at least you can easily zoom in and out to
like
video.
We're doing now with the camera here.
Yes.
And so moving on from video, we're also seeing a lot of live streaming right now.
Yeah.
With all the virtual conferences and churches, everything, including this webinar, is now virtual. How can someone get started in live streaming, and what are some of the things that they can look for?
For live streaming, again, it's this cameras are DSLR cameras or mirrorless cameras are good, but they have limitations to the battery life in it. So I mean, if you're doing 15-20 minute, it's okay to use these cameras. Otherwise, if you think you're going to go longer, it's always good to get a video camera because you can connect them directly to power. So you can have it on for 1 hour, and then you could be streaming without overheating or any other issues, interruptions. So camera, you need a tripod because when you're live, you want it to be steady. And then the other gadget that you need is like a capture card that will, you have this this video capture card. Basically, what this does is, you have your HDMI input from your camera. It converts it to USB, and then you connect it to your laptop, and then you go live on any platform or any software you're using. Because your laptop only has a HDMI output, you cannot connect directly from your camera to your laptop, desktop, any computer using HDMI. You have to convert it to USB and then bring it in, the signal.
And that's the same one that you're using here today.
Yeah, that's the one we're using right now. That's if you're doing one camera, that's okay. Or if you have your, like your phone, you can just go live directly from your phone, as long as you give it some good sound quality. Or if you have more than one camera, then it's good to have like this mixer here. It has 4 inputs, so you can have 4 cameras coming in. You can be mixing it depending on what you want to do, and yeah, you go live with that, and it's ideal for church, weddings, other broadcasting events. Yeah, so various solutions for different requirements and needs. Like this thing costs you about 15,000. This one costs you about 60,000. Yeah, and you could be live. Yes.
Fantastic. I love how this is going so far, and I'm also learning new things. I hope you guys are also learning as well and taking notes. So you can begin typing in your questions in the comment section for Parag, for anything that you want to know or learn about the equipment. If there's something that has been mentioned which you did not get clearly, we can also go through the same again. So now we've gone through the journey where we started with the mobile phone, we've gone into our camera. Now we are, I would say, in the semi-pro region. Now, for someone who wants to go full pro, what equipment would you recommend for them? And especially in the different categories. Say someone is doing wildlife or portraits or weddings, something like that.
So when you go full pro, like of course wedding, you'll be capturing a lot of portraits and a bit of events. So you need you need the fast lenses, like the f2.8 or the prime lenses, that go to 1.4, 1.2. This is what you need, and that's where now your full frame camera also really helps you to capture wider area. So that's what for cameras and lenses, that's what you'll be looking at. For wildlife, of course, the better the zoom reach, the better it is, because you can't really take your car or your camera near the animals, with a portrait, wedding, or in studio. You could move your model, or you could move in front if you're at an event, but of course to a limit. So you can get away with smaller zoom lenses. For video, of course, now everyone is going 4K, 6K, 8K. So if you are going pro, then of course, you need a good camera that will record 4K, so that you can have a crisp image, because all the TVs now are 4K. The other thing someone told me, that going with 4K, it's not just getting your camera to be 4K, because now you have less chances of making mistake. You have to make sure your model or your actor or whoever it is
also 4K.
With the makeup is 4K quality.
Yes.
Because everything now shows on the TV screen. The minute details.
It captures every single detail.
Yes. So that's something that's, when you buy a camera and you think you're going 4K, make sure the other things are also 4K compatible. because otherwise so much will be picked up by the camera that we've not used to.
Because if the quality is good, it will enhance what you see. If
Yeah.
it's bad, it just makes it
will-
worse.
Yeah, it will be enhanced.
Very good. So, and say someone wants to open a studio, and studio operates in a different setup. You need reflectors, you need light boxes, modifiers. What would you recommend for someone who's looking to go and start their own studio?
So in a studio, you could I either go for 2 light setup, 3 light setup, or 2 light and a camera flash. So we have those kits. Then you need, of course, a backdrop, and that's I think the starting point. You need a good backdrop and your 2 strobe lights to start with. And if you're in a studio, you don't need to spend a lot and get the lights that use battery, because battery powered lights are more expensive. Battery powered lights, strobe lights are more outdoor use. So if you're someone who's doing a lot of outdoor photography, and you know that it's difficult to take a cable to location to get power, then it's best to invest in strobe lights that use battery. We've got different lights for that with different power. We've got the Godox 80, this is the 8400. So basically it's 400 watts output in one light, and it comes with a battery pack. It's high speed sync. So it's what, 1/8000, the sync speed. And you've got the smaller pocket light, Visico 2. Again, high-speed sync. We've got the Godox 8200. So there are various, again, options for battery-powered lights that you can use depending on what kind of shoot it is and how much power you need to use.
Personally, I love the portable lights a lot, and for a long time, I used to shoot outdoors so much, and the lighter the light, the better it always was. And it's amazing to see just how far the lights have become smaller, but more powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. And the same is also applicable because you can use it outdoor as well as in studio, which is just perfect.
Yeah. But of course, it comes down to your investment, because if you know that you're just going to be indoors, you don't need to spend so much. When with that same amount, you could get a set of lights. Instead of buying one light, you could get 2 lights.
That are versatile.
Yeah. Same output.
So someone says, I run an online shop and I need to take product photos of my products. What would you recommend?
So for online shop, if you need to do quick photos, whether you have a camera or a phone and good light, we have a product tent. So, it's got lights and it got like different backgrounds. So you just put your product inside and you take your photos, quick edit, and you're ready to upload it on whichever platform you want to, Instagram, Facebook, or your own website, or other marketplaces like OLX, Jumia, I don't know, yeah, so many of them. But yeah, so we have a simple product shoot where you don't need a lot of expensive equipment or gear, and you can use it.
Okay, and then there was another question. When it comes to cameras, especially to do with filters, sometimes when you're trying to capture things out there, especially outdoor, it's not very ideal, especially when the light is harsh. What filters can someone use to balance light and get the right image?
So there are different three kinds of filters that are there. You have the UV filter, basically is just protecting from the UV light. Then you have the PL filter, you know, reduces the polarized rays that are coming in, and any light reflection that you might get. And then you have the ND filter, the neutral density filter. So it again reduces with the ND filter, you can reduce the amount of light coming in, and you can increase reduce your shutter speed so that your image is not overexposed, like maybe on a bright sunny day that you want the blue sky and you want the person also to be seen in the color. But when you're trying when you're trying to mix both, it's very difficult.
Extremely difficult.
Yeah. So that's when you put an ND filter, so it becomes dark, and you reduce your shutter speed. So now you have both.
So now you have like the sky well exposed,
yes,
and you have your subject also well exposed.
Yeah.
And in some way, it also tends to add to the color, because sometimes without the ND filter, your sky will almost be white. But when you add it, you get that nice blue. Yeah.
And I think ND filters, you can even use it for the water.
The water, if you want to get the still, like especially when you're shooting the ocean and you want to get a soft still look. Yeah. It helps you a lot to do that.
So it's very good for landscape photographers or outdoor photographers. ND, PL. Yeah.
So I can see Anne is asking, are there cameras that are convenient for smaller hands or larger hands? And does it matter?
As well, this is the old, the DSLR cameras, as they say it. And then this is the mirrorless cameras. This is now the new system that's coming in, mirrorless cameras. You can see the size is now reduced. So the cameras are now again becoming a bit smaller and lighter than they were before.
So if you have large hands, you can go for the large one. If you have small hands, you can use the small ones.
Yeah, I guess. But now with the mirrorless cameras, they've started becoming smaller and lighter. So that's how they are going.
And for a long time, there was a common perception in the industry that the bigger your equipment, the better you are.
Yeah.
And it also influenced how high you would charge the client.
Yes.
Do you find people complaining now that the equipment has become small?
Yeah, we still have people. The users, they know that they need to buy a particular camera, and it's small, but because their customers don't understand it, so they still come and buy a camera that's bigger in size, even though they know that the other one is better. Just because customer would think the client would think that he's coming with a small camera, he's just here to joke, or what is he doing? So just for that, they need to still buy the bigger camera, and that is more now happening with video cameras. People want to see these big video cameras, and now they're becoming smaller in size with more functions. Yeah. So the users are understanding. It's their clients who have still not understood.
And I guess it's also a matter of educating the client to understand, because you get hired for your image quality, not your equipment. So if you're able to demonstrate to the client beforehand using your portfolio and what you have, then it doesn't matter what you show up with. It's the confidence that they have in you.
Yeah.
There's another question. For real estate photography, what camera and lens would you recommend?
For real estate photography, I think indoors, which would be a wide angle lens. I think Rich, you might also be able to input in that with a wide angle lens with a 1.8 aperture. I mean, well, wide angle. Yeah, 1. If it's a zoom lens, then 2.8. I think that would be a good lens, yeah, because your indoors lighting is not always good, and you need to do a bit of wider view because you're in a small space.
And yeah, the wide lens part is very important, and sometimes also depending on the type of camera that you have, whether it's a crop sensor or a full frame, and the lenses can start from you have like the 10 to 18 millimeter, you have the 16 to 35 millimeter. So the wider it is, the better it works for you. And when it's a prime lens as well, it enables you to capture fine image quality while maximizing on the best light possible.
And to start with, entry level, again, camera would I think if it's real estate, you're doing commercial photography, I don't think you want to go with the basic cameras, or maybe a mid-range camera would be something you really want to get into, yeah? Like starting from 80D for a Canon, D7500 for Nikon, Sony, maybe A6400. These are the cameras you would be looking into.
So someone asked, what's appropriate for a 12-year-old who is starting photography?
For 12-year-old, I think they're starting photography. So one of the things they could buy is an entry-level DSLR camera, or we also have cameras that have, inbuilt zoom. Those are called bridge cameras. So if they're just getting into the photography journey, they can use that because it has a good zoom. So, children want to play around zooming in and out, outdoors, indoors. So you will not really investing a lot in different lenses and giving them the zoom camera. So they're learning on the composure, the framing, all the other rule of thirds and everything, and getting familiar with using a camera, holding the camera, moving around with the camera, because now they need to be responsible if they have a camera. They need to take care of it. So you don't want to give them something that's expensive. So you can start them off with a bridge camera, and when they grow older and they grow in the journey, that's when you can invest.
And can you give an example of such a camera?
So there is the Nikon B500, Sony H300s. They range about 28,000 to 30,000 shillings. Yeah.
And in the Canon side, do they also have one?
Canon, currently they don't have any in that side.
Good. I hope that answers it very well. I know many young people are now getting into photography, and I'd say mobile phones are also good for young people, as they also integrate that with cameras. What's the best place of point and shoot digital cameras? Are there some really good ones you can recommend?
Point and shoot cameras, of course, when you look at point and shoot, you're looking at the zoom quality, because your phone cameras also have 5 times zoom. So you're trying to see that the zoom that you buy in the camera is more than 5 times. You need at least something that's 10, 15, 20x zoom. That has a good video capability that can also do videos for you. So that's what you're looking at. And the lens opening, it's not as your phone, because you want the aperture to be much better than your phone, so you get better image quality even if the light is a bit less. So you could go with the G7X, Mark III, Mark II, or that's the Canon side. I'm trying to think the Sony right now currently have any. Then you've got the PowerShot SX, I think 720. Yeah, these are some of the good point and zoom cameras. Of course, they go 25, 30,000.
Mhm. And so Kelvin here says, I have a passion for photography. I'm actually planning to buy a camera end of this month. I'm sure from this talk, many people will want to come to buy cameras and learn more. Is there an offer that you can give the Picha photography community members when they come?
We are working on some offers, and then we will post them, so you could look out for them on the Picha community page, and also our social medias. You know, we're on Facebook, Instagram, so you can look out. We are coming out with some offers, maybe hopefully by October we should have something. And even if you want to still just come, look at what we have, feel what is there, just before you even decide that you're ready, you know, so at least to help you make your mind, you're always welcome to the store. Yeah.
I think you mentioned something quite important. Coming to see and feel the cameras, because sometimes it can be intimidating, you know, to walk into a store and you see this 500,000 and 1 million cameras, and you are even you're afraid to touch and even ask about it. So people can come to your store, see the
Yes.
camera,
Yeah.
feel, talk to your staff to get to know more about it.
Yes.
I hope you had that, guys, and you're very welcome. Are there tripods that can take in both cameras and phones?
Yeah, so we have tripods that can take in the camera, like the one we're using right now. Maybe we can just show you a bit on that. This is the tripod that you know, you just buy a small mount to put in if you want to put a camera. You know, so you have a tripod that you can put your DSLR, and then you just buy the small mount and you put it on there to use your phone. Or for phones, we have another grip also here. You know, you can which maybe you can just put your phone. So you have your phone here, so you can basically hold. Sorry. All right. Just fix it.
Perfect.
Tighten the screw. So yeah, you have your phone here. You can use it as a, you know, you hold it to make camera, take photos or videos. And you've got 3 mounts also here. So if you want to put a extra light, extra microphone, you know, you can have it. And then the bottom part, you can just attach it on a tripod. So there you go. You have a filming kit or a grip or photography.
And how much does this go for?
This is around 1,500, and you can attach it on any tripod or stand that you might be having or you might buy. Yeah.
Great. And then, so someone else is asking, do you do camera repairs and
Yes,
cleaning?
we do camera repairs and cleaning also. We have a workshop here, so you can bring them in and we'll look at it and advise after we look at it.
Very well, very well. I hope you're enjoying this session, guys, and learning a lot. So I think this was answered before, but maybe you missed it. Which cameras or combination of equipment would you recommend for simple indoor vlogs with streaming?
Simple indoor vlogs, maybe, yeah, you're looking at something like the Sony ZV-1 or the Canon M50. You mount it on your, it has a flip screen. So if you're one person, then, you flip your screen so you can watch what you are filming. So it's easy for you to monitor. And it has external mic. So you can attach your mic, so your audio is good. And to, of course, stream, you'll have to have this mirror box, the output, to connect to your laptop to go live.
And John is asking, between shopping on Amazon and buying from you, which one is cheaper?
Not really sure, but at least when you buy from us, you are guaranteed to pick what you want, and if there's any issue, we are here. You can always bring it in. We'll help you. With Amazon, you might get the right equipment, you might not get the right equipment, but when there's an issue, you can't walk into an Amazon store. You'll have to ship it to wherever they are. You wait for them to get it, then reply, then you bring it in. So there's a lot of logistics involved in it. Even after you order, you might, you're still paying shipping and taxes and all those other logistic charges, which when you're picking from us, one price includes everything. And you also get to ask the questions, feel the equipment, see if it's the right for you before you buy it.
And do your equipment come with the warranties?
Yes, all our equipment come with manufacturer's warranty. So we don't really sell anything that we can't give a manufacturer's warranty.
So someone is asking, how real are the warranties and what are the warranty scope? And do you offer insurance for various kinds of gear?
Insurance, no, that's maybe you can look with your insurance agent, how the insurance, but yeah, warranties are manufacturer's warranty. So whatever manufacturer's defects that are there, we will help you get that sorted out.
And what's the typical time for the warranties?
Canon just extended their warranty from 2 years to 3 years now. Sony has a 1-year warranty. So yeah, different manufacturers have their different terms for warranty. Like Apple, if you buy a MacBook now, I think locally they're also giving 2 years warranty. Yeah, so different manufacturers have their own different time periods and warranty, and whatever they give us, we extend to you.
Do you have any insurance companies that you can recommend or you work with closely that have a reputable name out here?
I think from our conversation with insurance agencies that they want to equip this equipment under the larger umbrella of house insurance. That's what they say. So when you want your gear, you get that house coverage, and it's part of that.
And I cannot emphasize enough on the importance of insuring your equipment, especially getting the house insurance. There's a photographer in our community whose house was broken into just this week, and he lost his laptop, his camera, lights, and quite a number of other things, which have really set him back a bit. And it is good to insure your equipment. And I would just like to put this out there. His name is Sombo, and on Instagram, it's Sombo Keep Smith. He has put out all the information there. And if you hear of anyone who is selling such equipment, please notify us or the community so that we can help him get back his equipment. And for a starter, between DSLR and mirrorless, which is suitable? And we also talked about this. Someone is struggling between choosing Canon versus Nikon. Maybe go for the DSLR versus mirrorless first.
DSLR is, I would say it's still a good technology, but everyone is now moving to mirrorless because now you're able to put in more features in a camera. Like with your mirrorless camera, it's more faster. It has more focus points. It's even the viewfinder is electronic, so you really can see what you're going to shoot, even if you're just using your viewfinder. Those are the advantages of a mirrorless camera. DSLR cameras, of course, are still good. They're sturdy, and they're still there. So depends on your budget, and then we see which camera fits in that budget. But yeah, the mirrorless is a new technology where everyone is now moving. Now Sony had moved there few years ago, so they are leading. Canon and Nikon are now trying to shift all their DSLRs to mirrorless cameras and stop producing DSLRs. The lens is now becoming lighter for mirrorless cameras. The bodies are becoming lighter. So if you are someone who travels a lot on airlines, especially not in your car or trains, the lighter the gear you're carrying, the easier it is to get in, because now there's a lot of weight restrictions.
Well, that is to be a huge one, especially if you're traveling with many things. And so to add on to that, for the DSLR versus mirrorless, especially if you're looking at printing, the mirrorless has better print quality than the DSLR, because I think the way the sensor is set up and the amount of light that it is able to capture. I have done exhibitions where I had both DSLR photos and mirrorless printed, and when I looked at the qualities, it was almost like day and night. It obviously it depends on the different conditions under which you shoot the subject, but under the same conditions, the mirrorless cameras will give you better print quality.
I think because of a lot more focus points, you're able to get more in focus than. Is it something that might be a factor also? Because now mirrorless cameras can practically have the whole screen in focus with so many focus points that they're able to give you.
That could also be a factor, yes, among many others.
Yeah.
Yes. Then for a starter in podcasting and blogs, what would be the right gear in terms of microphone and camera to start with?
Of course, for podcasting, we have a microphone that it's a simple microphone. You just connect it to your computer via USB and start recording your podcast. And you can use it for even two people. Just one microphone is good to go. So that's something that we have. You can come look at it.
Do you have it nearby? It's okay. Maybe if you can just mention the name and the brand.
It's a Boya BYM 700. Very easy to use, very easy to connect to your computer, any computer, Mac, Windows. Yeah, that's for podcasting. Then we, for video, like I said, if you're starting out, I think 250D for Canon is a very amazing camera, or M50 mirrorless camera, very nice, light and small to start with.
Fantastic. So we are now coming to the end of the webinar. And in case you have any more questions, we'll be taking the last questions now. And it's been quite amazing sitting here with Parag from Cameras Africa. You can follow them online, and the links have been shared in the chat section. Their website is camerasafrica.com, and they're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by the same name. And you can also follow Picha Images on via their website. You can sign up on pichaimages.com to become part of the Picha community. As you heard, there will be some interesting discounts coming your way, which will be exclusive to Picha community members. So sign up. The first people to sign up will be getting those offers. You can also follow Picha on social media, Picha Images on Instagram, Picha Images on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. So I can see the last questions are trickling in, and now they're coming in fast. Clearly, we're in Kenya. Which camera is good for modeling photography? And are there other stores for Cameras Africa in Kenya?
We only have one store right now in town, Kenyatta Avenue, but we are online, so you can reach us there if you have any questions. And we only, so right now that's.
So Kelvin is asking for the location again. Where can they find you?
We're on Kenyatta Avenue next to Phoenix House. If you go on Google and you type Cameras Africa, Google Maps will bring you right here to us. We're not very difficult to find in town. And then
do you do deliveries countrywide?
Yes, we do deliveries countrywide. So if you can't come and if there's something you need, you can always message us or call us or email us, and we can deliver it to you.
Very well.
For the camera and the model question, I think Rich, you might be a bit better able to explain because you do a lot of that work. How do you take that question?
Which camera is good for modeling photography? So I say any beginner, medium, or pro camera is okay, but the lens is what matters a lot, because you want to be near your model but not so far. And if you're using a full frame camera, the best lens to use that I also find very useful is the 24 to 70 millimeter, because it is quite versatile, and it enables you to get a wider view as well as moving close to your model. If you're using a crop sensor or the beginner to semi-pro cameras, if you have a lens with an 18 to 55 millimeter focal length, or the 24 to 105 lens, that also helps you very well.
And of course, light.
And
depending
light.
on what kind of model.
Yes, if you're shooting in studio,
doing,
if you're shooting in studio, you need at least 2 lights to get a good image. And sometimes if you want to be artistic as well, I personally found that I can use 1 light very creatively. And that's the other thing that most people struggle with at the beginning. Do I get 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights? If you look at the natural light that God provides, it is the sun, and it's 1 light. So if you add another light to your setup, you essentially have 2 lights if you're shooting outdoor, and you're able to play with it in different ways to give you interesting effects. So to answer your question, what camera is good for modeling photography? Any camera in the beginner, semi-pro, or pro range, but the lens is the most important. Yeah. Great. And we have come to the end of the webinar. The links have been posted, and it is also live on YouTube. In case you missed it, you can find the whole recording on YouTube or on Picha Images. Once again, we are very grateful for having you. And I know that we will be having more of such. And Picha Images and Cameras Africa are dedicated to helping photographers and creatives understand their equipment, make it easier to acquire equipment, as well as grow your skills.
We don't want to just be another equipment store just trying to sell, but we also want our customers to grow the skills when they buy the equipment also. So it's good to be partnering with Picha Image. Maybe we can have a workshop soon, and answer some of the questions that we have got more in details, maybe like lights, how to use lights or how to use different lenses. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. To have like tailored workshops.
Yeah.
So probably around light, around cameras, around lenses,
Yeah.
etc. Very well.
Right. Thank
Great.
you very much. Yeah.
Thank you as well. And stay in touch. Stay tuned for what's coming up next.